Oh yeah, Thursday, July 5th, the day after the 4th of July. How the hell are you? Welcome to the show. Coffee cheers. How you doing? Coming at you live from, this is our first ever, at least our first ever this year, outdoor episode of MalanDTV. And I just bought a new little table and have some chairs out here, and I've been hanging out outside a lot, and I wanted to try out one of these outside because the natural lighting might look cool. Upstairs I have I bought some lights, but out here the light's natural. It's not shining on me, but we'll see how it goes. Makes my glasses steam up, the tint come up kind of cool. But man, welcome, glad you're here. Get your coffee. Let's talk about the 4th of July, I guess. I hope you're alive. I hope you're not in jail. I hope you didn't get a DUI like millions of other suckers out there. You know, I'm a former professional drunk driver myself, and I can tell you those things aren't fun. And if you drink and drive on the holidays, you're just asking for it, because they line up the police cars and paddy wagons and police buses, and they just scoop up drunks all day. They make a hell of a lot of money doing that. I guess it's a good business if you can get it. Myself, I didn't do much. July 3rd, the day before the 4th of July, I stayed up way too late. I had a friend over. I told her, I said, if you come over, just be aware that at 10 o'clock I'm going to turn into a pumpkin and I have to go to bed. She said, okay, cool. So we're hanging out, playing guitars, have a fire going. 10 o'clock rolls by. I'm like, okay, I'll stay up a little bit longer and then I'm done. Next thing I know, it's midnight. Okay, I got to go to bed now. On and on. I think I finally went to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning. And this always happens when I have friends over. I don't know if I should blame them or myself, because number one, my friends have zero respect for my desire for sleep early. You know, a lot of my friends, they still stay up till 3, 4, 5 in the morning. They get going at 10 p.m. By the time they're getting ready to go out for the night, I'm already done. Because what I've realized, since my mid-30s, it hit me that mornings were better for me than nights, especially when I'm not binge drinking and looking to go crazy and destroy myself every night. Being a morning person is much more conducive to is much better for a healthy lifestyle than being a raging night party animal. Obviously, I mean, that's just common sense. You want to get your life together? Start going to sleep at 10 o'clock in the morning. Get up around 5 or 6. Your life will pretty quickly change and will be healthier, because my mom told me this when I was a kid. She said, nothing good happens after dark. Or no, what did she say? She said, nothing good happens after 10 p.m., I think was her quote. Might have been midnight, but let's just say 10 p.m. Malan, just remember, nothing good happens after 10 p.m. I believe it was my mom that told me that over and over. And, of course, when you're 15 years old, 10 p.m. is nothing. You want to stay up all night, watch the sun come up. If you're with your friends or, God forbid, a girl, you may never go to sleep. But she was right. What's happening, unless you're like a night owl, like I know Tim Ferriss has said he likes to write his books between the hours of like 12 and 5 in the morning. But he's drinking coffee, writing, and working. If that's your night owl work shift, that's cool. Do your thing. If you're a painter and you're the most inspired to paint at night, or if you're a singer and you're the most inspired to write music at night, by all means do it. But the general public, you know, they spend their nights destroying themselves as an escape from the reality of what their lives really are. And I speak from experience. I mean, of course, not everyone's doing that, but I did. I wasn't thrilled with my life, so by the time I got done with work, I would be ready to go home and just run away from it all. I would flee into oblivion. And oblivion came via a alcoholic blackout. And a lot of people around me were blacking out too. We were all miserably happy together in those 4 to 6 hours at night. Between 9 and 4 in the morning, life seemed wonderful until reality hit the next day. So for me, one thing that I did that made a huge difference was I started waking up early in the morning. And I started waking up early in the morning because I had gotten interested in marketing, affiliate marketing, online marketing, digital marketing, whatever. And the campaigns were running pretty big. And so I only slept when I had to. I'd fall asleep from like 12 midnight, and I'd wake up at 5 in the morning because I really didn't want to leave the campaigns running. I wanted to see what was going on. Soon that turned into a habit, and here we are all these years later, and I still do it. I'm actually trying to push back my morning time from, the 4 a.m.s, 5 a.m.s. I did that for a long time, and it just makes the day too long for me. By the time 2 or 3 p.m. rolls around, you're exhausted. You've been up 10 hours, then by 8 p.m., it feels like you've been going on for 4 days. So I know there's some people that say, like, wake up at 4 in the morning every day and grind, grind, grind. I did that long enough, didn't like it enough to stick with it. I did it for years, but these days I'm attempting to sleep in. Like if I wake up and at 6 a.m., I used to just shoot out of bed. Like, oh God, let's start. Make the coffee, let's go. Now I like to just try to go back to sleep. 7, 8 p.m., 8 a.m., not bad. Because 8 a.m. you wake up, even 9 a.m. You wake up, I'm an intermittent fasting guy, so I usually eat around noon or after. When you wake up at 4 in the morning, it's not easy to fast until noon. When you wake up at 9 in the morning, you don't even realize, all of a sudden it's just 2 in the afternoon. You're like, oh, wow, works way better for that aspect of my life. And here recently, I've been following some old advice that I read about a guy named Cain Sumabot or Sumbot, something like that. His nickname online is Timberwolf. He's about 50-something, ripped to the shreds, has been his whole life. And one of the things he does is he doesn't usually eat until the afternoon, and he doesn't eat carbs until like after 4. And not that it's a magic trick or anything, but it's something I've been doing lately. And sleeping in later than 4 in the morning helps that a lot. But what am I talking about? Why am I talking about sleep schedules? I swear to God, sometimes I turn this thing on, guys, and I have no clue what I'm going to say. I was going to talk about the 4th of July, and all of a sudden I'm talking about eating carbs after 4. But that's what this is. The random convulsions of the mind, throat, and mouth of your pal Malan Anthony Darras. So the reason I told that long-winded story was, there's a raven. I'm outside with the ravens. I have donuts laid out on the wall that I'm using for bait. They come and eat them every day. Peanuts. I've left them some steak fat recently. They love that. But the reason I brought up the mornings was because the 4th of July was pretty uneventful for me. I was so tired. I woke up at 8. I went to sleep at 4 on the 4th of July morning. Woke up at 8 and was just up. That's my curse. That's another thing some friends don't understand is they sleep till noon or 3 or 4 p.m. They stay up till 5 or 6 a.m., sleep till 3 a.m., wake up and do it all again. That's not me. If I stay up till 4 in the morning, I'm up at 8, right? You know what I mean? My head goes, you're supposed to be awake. My body goes, but you're dead. Like, no, get up. So I did. So by the afternoon, I was dead. I had originally considered flying to Ada, Oklahoma to see a bunch of friends of mine at an old house we used to hang out at this park called Wintersmith Park. And in my childhood, that's where we did the fireworks shows every year. So I have a lot of memories there. I almost flew home to Ada to do that with a bunch of my friends from high school and just across my whole life, but I didn't make it. So I'm sitting out here on my patio at about 2. I did manage to get a workout in. I don't really miss that. I actually just did another little workout. I'm doing a little workout every day instead of like a super heavy workout 3 days. Experiment with that for a while. But I just couldn't do it, man. I went to the store. I hadn't had carbs for about 2 days, so I wanted some ice cream. So I got a pint of Halo Top, which is like light ice cream. And then I got a pint of Ben & Jerry's frozen yogurt, which is still lighter than regular Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And it was unbelievable. Oh, it was like fudge brownies with a caramel twist in vanilla frozen yogurt. About 700 calories for the pint, which is pretty low compared to about 1,200 for Ben & Jerry's. But the Halo Top's 320. So I put them together, ate both of them. Along with, I had some other food as well. But I decided that was going to be my 4th of July. I was going to buy some ice cream, come home, put it in the freezer, wait for the sun to go down, and just eat ice cream and watch the fireworks go off by myself. This was my first 4th of July in this neighborhood. The previous years, I was up, in a 20-story building, and I would have friends over. And instead of watching one big fireworks show, we would watch all of the fireworks shows from around Hollywood. You would see somewhere around like 50 different fireworks shows going off at once. They were small and in the distance, so you didn't get that big impact of the big explosions overhead, boom, when you're looking right up, which I do miss that. But you could see about 50 different fireworks displays going off at once. And I was curious how this was going to work because I now live in a canyon. Like I'm literally on top of a canyon. If I'm looking forward at a canyon. And if you've seen my Instagram, you'll see the view. It's huge. It's beautiful. So I thought maybe they would do fireworks over the canyon, but they did not. It was pretty much the same as it was in the building. I watched probably 50 fireworks shows go on for maybe 2 hours. I ate the Halo Top ice cream first because it wasn't going to be as good as the Ben & Jerry's, so I started with that. Listened to music. I've been listening to classic rock. I've never listened to classic rock in my life till maybe 5 years ago, 3 years ago. It started sneaking in, starting with Pink Floyd. I started listening to Syd Barrett and watched a documentary and all of his interviews and read everything I could read, and I became this huge Pink Floyd fan. And then so I thought, man, I've known about Pink Floyd my whole life, but I've never really been a huge fan. But now that I read everything, I watched the documentaries, and now that I understand the whole story, I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan. And that's the key. It made sense. I did it again with, who did I do next? The Stones, Rolling Stones. I believe it was the Rolling Stones that came next. I read Keith Richards' book. I read a Rolling Stones book. I watched all the documentaries, all their movies, all their live performances, everything I could see. And now I'm a huge Stones fan. So I think the key to just really discovering a band and really becoming a fan is to understand the story. Like I don't like Drake. These days I say I don't like Drake. Number one, because he's supposedly the best rapper in the world or the top of the music game right now. And to me, the music that I have heard is low. It's not very good, in my opinion. I mean, lyrically, musically, everything. I just don't get it. I don't like it. I think it's childish and kind of dumbed down for the masses, which is a key to being popular. You have to kind of dumb your music down so that the average, everyday, everyone can understand it. Not only like a hip-hop audience, but also a rock audience. And you want white people, Chinese people, Mexican people, black people. You want everyone listening to your music. And to do that, you have to kind of dumb it down. And I feel like most popular music is dumbed down, Drake included. But here's the point. I bet if I went and read everything there is to know about Drake, his whole life story, how he started, watched a couple documentaries, read a book, listened to every album closely and read the words, listened to a bunch of interviews, I bet I would become a Drake fan. And I bet if you do that with anyone, you would become a fan. Same with Joey Diaz. I think this works with anyone. Same with Joe Rogan. I wasn't a big Joe Rogan stand-up comedy fan until I watched the podcast for years, and I got to know everything about him. And I listened to him talk about his life and everything every day. Same with Joey Diaz. He talks about his entire life every single day. And when you get sucked into that world, you become a fan. And maybe that's the way you guys feel about me, this small audience that we have together, this smallish family, relatively. I mean, about 10,000 of us. But maybe, this is the way to do it. I think this is the way to do it now. Be real open and honest about yourself. Let people know everything. And then when you do have something going on, say you want to put out an album or put out a product or a t-shirt or whatever, now that you know everything about Joey Diaz or Joe Rogan or me or Drake or whoever, you're probably going to be like, yeah, I love this dude. Let me buy his CD or whatever. So maybe this is the new marketing thing. I don't know. But I'm way off topic again. How did I get on Drake? I have no idea. Anyway, the 4th of July. Sorry, guys, I'm rambling. I had the Halo Top ice cream. Bombs going off everywhere. Texting back and forth with my friends in Ada. They're all sending me the pictures of them together, making me feel bad. But I was so exhausted. I wasn't having it. Oh, I was listening to classic rock in the background. That's how I got there. That's the connect the dot. I went from classic rock to how I became a fan of classic rock, to the Pink Floyd story, to the Rolling Stones story, and how you could fall in. I could probably learn to like Drake if I knew his whole story, which made me make the use the example of Rogan and Diaz. That's how I got there. So I was listening to classic rock, eating the Halo Top ice cream. It was great. Peanut butter. And I had a piece of a Kit Kat in it. I had a Kit Kat in the refrigerator, and I broke it into pieces and put it in there. Best 320-ish calories you will ever eat, hands down. If you want to step it up next, you know, I had the music going, the bombs are going off. I broke out the Ben & Jerry's. Oh, I wasn't sure because, you know, Ben & Jerry's ice cream is famous for a reason. It tastes amazing. Terrible for you, but it tastes incredible. Some of the best ice cream there is. So the frozen yogurt, I wasn't sure. I made a bargain. I took a gamble. I said, well, 1,200, 1,300 calories for the Ben & Jerry's, just for my eating disorder head. I'm not fat at all. I just do this because I'm a dysfunctional human. I think I have every disorder there is. You name it, I've got a piece of it. Eating disorder, check. Body dysmorphia, absolutely. Day to day it changes. I'm either the most ripped guy I've ever seen or the fattest guy I've ever seen. I'm either the best looking guy I've ever seen or the ugliest guy I've ever seen. Been that way my whole life. I have a gigantic ego and crushing low self-esteem at the same time. Total addictive personality. Lived most of my life as an alcoholic. You name it. ADD, ADHD, you name it, man. I have issues. My issues have issues. But cheers to that. Here's to issues, man, because the truth is, here we are. Boom. We all have issues. But the old modus operandi of human life in America was to try to be cool and hide all your issues or dumb them down, hide them with pills, try to knock them out. Take tranquilizers if you were too crazy, like calm your demons down. Oh, your son has too much energy. Put him on these pills to calm him down and turn him into a zombie. Now I kind of feel like we're celebrating it a little bit more. Slowly but surely, everyone's small or large, quote-unquote, setbacks, the differences, not setbacks, they're differences, are now being celebrated more than ever. You know, gay people are more free to be open about their sexuality more now than ever, which is wonderful, because if there's one thing none of us should be worried about, it's who each other is having sex with. It's irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. Lots of stuff like that. People with mental disorders. It's actually becoming cool to have mental problems. It's like a trend right now. Like I remember when I lived in Dallas, about 19, 20 years old, there was a lesbian trend. It became trendy for girls to be lesbian in the 90s. This was like early to mid 90s, and it happened overnight. I don't know what it was. It was right after grunge had hit. But I remember going out every night of the week. We went out and partied. And at one night we walked in and all the girls were together. All of a sudden it just started happening. And I don't think most of them were gay. I think most of them it was in style. And you could see it happened like any other trend. All of a sudden everyone's wearing funny looking shoes, and then they just become this trend. There was a lesbian trend there in Dallas, but I'm totally rambling. How did I get there? But we're celebrating our differences, and I think that's great. Because people like me, possibly people like you, were told in the past, do whatever it takes to try to fit in. I mean, our parents told us that. Just go to school, do your best to fit in. You know, try to mix in. Just don't stand out. Don't speak out. Just try to blend in, try to get along. Your teachers would tell you, why don't you just try to fit in? And I'd try to tell them, like, I'm having trouble with that. I don't fit in. I don't feel comfortable. I feel like an alien among humans. I feel like a different kind of animal. Like, well, maybe you should take these pills. Like, I don't want to take pills. You know, take me to a camp where everybody's crazy. Not crazy, just different. Take me there. I'll live there. I want to paint pictures. I want to make music. I have no interest in learning Oklahoma history or math. I just don't have any interest. Put me in a class where I can learn to paint or learn to write music or learn to like spirit dance naked, covered in watercolor paint in the woods. I would have gotten straight A's and all that. But I got straight F's. in everything else. But we're celebrating those differences. And I think that's a fantastic thing. So if you're a wacko, a weirdo, if you're depressed, everyone's depressed, man. If you're unhappy, we're all unhappy. 99% of people are unhappy, but they're hiding it. It's okay to be depressed. My opinion, not that you asked, but we're on my YouTube channel, so I'm going to tell you my opinion, and I've thought this for a long time. And this might be egotistical for me to say, but I think if you have a brain in your head, let me say it another way. There is a common phrase that we all know called ignorance is bliss. Makes sense to me. Because if you're dumb enough, life is easy. If you're really just oblivious and ignorant, life can seem fantastic. It's bliss. I've got a job. I wake up in the morning. I make my coffee. I eat pizza. I eat a donut for breakfast. I eat this. I've got cancer at 35. I'm overweight with diabetes. Life is great. This is just how it goes, you know? But if you have a brain in your head, and sometimes that can be a curse. I remember thinking about the possibilities of the world coming to an end when I was in like 2nd grade. I was curious if I was going to live long enough to become a rock star. I was giving myself, the world was going to end in 2000, I thought. So my whole life I was already mapping out I have to be famous before 2000 or the world's going to end. 2nd grade thinking these things. 3rd grade, asking questions at church that they couldn't answer. And I think if you have a brain in your head and you really think about what life was supposed to be, what natural life is supposed to be, and you compare it to the civilization and the life that we have, you're going to be sad sometimes. Because when I look around, I'm looking at the sky right now and the clouds and the mountains and the trees, and there's lizards going by on the wall. I see this ecosystem that doesn't require any of our technology, any of our advancements, money, buildings, automobiles, airplanes. None of it is required. Not even supposed to be here. I mean, I guess you could call it natural because we are natural animals, and we've built these things from natural materials, so it's all natural. But when I think about how things are compared to how they could be, if, let's say, a tornado hit, a worldwide hurricane hit and just wiped everyone off the earth, and it started over with 2 people, and they decided to do none of this and just keep it the way it's supposed to be, harmonious with the earth, harmonious with the animals, not thinking that we're better than the animals or that they're here for our food only and they don't have feelings. I mean, that's the biggest joke in the world, that animals don't have feelings. They just can't tell you that it hurts. Same with plants. Plants feel pain too, guys. They're alive. When you rip a plant out of the ground, it feels it and it knows it's being killed. And when you eat it, you're eating a dead living thing. Just like a cow. Man, I'm really off on tangents today. But it's my mind. This is what I think about all the time. And remember, you guys are just listening to my thoughts, if I'm being honest. That's why I started this YouTube channel, was to get these thoughts out of my head. I usually talk to myself at home. When no one's around, I have these conversations. And remember, I turned the camera on like 2 years ago, and you guys started tuning in, so I kept doing it. But some of these are going to be ramblings. But yeah, man, so life does hurt if you're being real, if you're really thinking about things. But if you're ignorant, it's bliss. Oh, everything's good. When I meet someone who's real happy like that, I know, number one, they're either faking it, or number two, this might be the dumbest person I ever met. I wish I could be that dumb, just to walk around with a smile on my face and think everything's perfect. You know, the government's going to take care of us, guys. America's the greatest country in the world, or wherever you live. Germany's the best place to be. France is the best. We're the best. Our religion is number one, whatever. If you really think about it, it can be pretty depressing. But here's the cool thing. You can snap out of it. Let's snap out of it. 4th of July, eating ice cream. That Ben & Jerry's frozen yogurt was incredible, dude. I mean, I may never buy Ben & Jerry's ice cream again. I may stick with the frozen yogurt. You could eat 2 of them for the calorie price of, oh, that's how he started, with the calorie counting. Eating disorder, dysfunctional, all the way to ignorance is bliss, back to the frozen yogurt. This is amazing. Thanks for sticking with me. You never know where this might end up. But I ate that frozen yogurt. Every bite was better than the last one. But by the time I got done with it, I was done with sweets for the day. That was 2 pints, Halo Top, and frozen yogurt, and that was enough. Today, probably 0. I'll just eat paleo-type foods today. But I watched the fireworks go off. It was really no big deal. You know, 4th of July is another one of those holidays that when you stop drinking, it doesn't make much sense anymore. Because yes, we can honor veterans and independence, and I do that every day. You know, I lost a brother. He did 2 tours in Iraq. When he got out, he was distraught and ended up dying after his terms, but it was related to going to war. My grandfather was a veteran. A lot of my family, a lot of military people. So I respect them all the time, not just on one day a year. But when you stop drinking, like binge drinking is what I'm talking about, there are certain holidays that stop making sense. Easter, 4th of July, Memorial Day. You know, these kind of holidays that in my previous life were just really an excuse to get really drunk. I was going to get drunk anyway, but now it was kind of socially acceptable for me to get drunk because you were going to be partying out of control too, because everybody had the day off work or the next day or whatever. But when you stop binge drinking and decide you want your life to actually do something and succeed at some things, one of the first things I noticed was people would say, "What are you doing for Memorial Day?" I'd say, "I'm doing nothing." "Why would I do something? You know, go to the lake and get drunk? I'm not doing that anymore." "Why would I celebrate it?" "Oh, you know, just come out and hang out with us." And you do that a few times. You realize, like, this is pointless. They're all drunk. I'm not even on the same level. It's annoying. I'm done. I'm never again Memorial Day. Then Easter rolls around. And Easter, I used to get drunk on Easter, you know. After the age of 15, Easter was a drinking holiday for me all day. Labor Day, drunken holiday. Thanksgiving, I still get down with Thanksgiving and Christmas. There's something, just personally, I don't know if it's childhood memories, but I like getting together with my family. Thanksgiving and Christmas. For some reason, those still really matter. Not because of the significance of the holiday or whatever. You know, Santa Claus we made up. Thanksgiving, you know, is kind of controversial because some people say that it represents the taking of the land from the Native Americans and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But to me personally, those 2 holidays still matter. New Year's, not so much. My birthday, not so much. I'll have a small get-together for my birthday. But when you take out the binge drinking, it's funny how many holidays lose their significance or lose the draw, you know. Because instead of having a great excuse to go get drunk, it's kind of like, well, it's Memorial Day. What do you guys want to do? You want to go plant a tree? You want to go hike a hill? You want to do some push-ups? You want to write some music? You want to launch some marketing campaigns? Let's test out trying to sell T-shirts on Facebook. It's Memorial Day. Let's launch a new T-shirt campaign. Makes no sense, man. But, you know, if nothing else, 4th of July, it was a good, relaxing day. Unfortunately, I was in recovery zone, but I did discover the wonder and beauty of Ben & Jerry's Froyo. I believe it was called Caramel Fudge Brownie Swirl or something like that. I'm going to probably look at the container in the trash can and take a picture of it and buy it again because it's fantastic. But that was my 4th of July. After that, I went inside. I got in bed. I took 3 big, gigantic puffs of the most wonderful sleepy time medical marijuana, medical cannabis that's ever been seen. I laid down, put on the Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz 4th of July podcast. If you want to see some, I haven't finished it yet because I fall asleep. Joey Diaz's voice puts me to bed. It's like hypnotic. But I listened to them talk, let the cannabis do its job, and I listened to the bombs going off in the background just over and over and over. An owl was hooing. Hoo, hoo, hoo. and I passed out. Woke up this morning at 6 o'clock. Stayed in bed till about 7. Did a workout. Listened to my morning playlist that has like a bunch of feel-good, happy songs on it. Did a workout in the garage. Made a cup of coffee in the new coffee cup. I came out here and did a video with you guys. Boom. So happy day after 4th of July. Happy day after 4th of July, which would be the 5th of July. 11:14 in the morning. Thursday, July 5th, 2018, and that does it. There's a squirrel or something running around. You get like this weird tribal instinctual thing when something rattles in the bushes, your head automatically turns. It happens so often outside that I've started to notice it. Like when a squirrel runs by or when a big bird lands in a tree and flaps its wings. You jump. Probably an instinctual thing to protect you from like a lion. A lion coming out of the bushes. There's definitely something coming. Probably a squirrel or a bird. Doesn't sound like a coyote. Doesn't sound that big. Yeah, man, we're out here in the woods, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. If you want to give me a rundown of your 4th of July feelings, experiences, or whatever, drop comments. That's what makes this fun. Drop a like, a comment. What do they call that? Engage. Let me know what you're up to, man. And don't get crazy in the comments. I've decided I'm just going to, people that drive me crazy or like to nitpick and tell me what to do or make fun of me in any way that messes with my brains and my emotions, I just shadow ban you. You won't even know you're blocked. I've only done it to maybe 2 people in the history of this channel. But that's it. I'm trying to save my mental health and help you guys at the same time. So I hope I gave you a good, how long are we going? 32 minutes? Hope it was fun. Hope you learned a lot about the 4th of July, about birds, about being dysfunctional, about not staying up till 4 in the morning, about waking up early, about instincts and watching out for squirrels and lions in the woods, and all that. I love you. Have a great day. Stay tuned. Tell your friends. Share this video somewhere. Who knows? Maybe somebody will... Not everyone's going to like this stuff, but somebody might get a real kick out of it. Share it with your friends. And that's it. Have a great day. And as always, I will see you, bye-bye, in the future.